happy I came a few minutes early and heard the night Seder. It sounded like a real yeshiva. I mean, and not that I thought it would be unreal, but nevertheless, it was very, very special. I mean, the real culture that of Yidden learning, you know, in the second of the two parshas that we're going to be reading this Shabbos is in Bechukosai telechu, ves mitzvosai tishmeru v'asisem oisam. So, probably you notice the Rashi if you open the Chumash. And Rashi says, "Im bechukosai telechu yochod ze kiyum hamitzvos." You would think that "Im bechukosai telechu" is referring to kiyum hamitzvos, but kishu oimes ves mitzvosai tishmeru, harei kiyum hamitzvos amur. Mitzvosai tishmeru is talking about kiyum hamitzvos. So, hama ani mekayim im bechukosai telechu shetiyu amelim bator. So shetiyu amelim bator means you should toil in Torah. We understand that it must be referring to something else than kiyum hamitzvos because it says mitzvosai tishmeru. In bechukosai telechu must mean something else, but maybe it means limud haTorah. Who says it means amelus b'Torah? Who says it means amelus b'Torah? Maybe it just means limud haTorah. So it would seem that limud haTorah is also one of the 613 mitzvahs. It's also included in mitzvosai tishmeru. So in bechukosai telechu must be saying something that is beyond kiyum hamitzvahs. And amelus b'Torah, it seems, is beyond kiyum hamitzvahs because we know that, let's say, Havada, there's amelus in mitzvahs also. Let's say sometimes if you don't have a lulav in your town, you might have to travel to buy a lulav. Let's say if you are a bad-natured person, you might have to toil in bringing yourself to be mekayim the mitzvah of ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Sometimes toil is necessary, but the amelus has no value per se in kiyum hamitzvos. What do I mean to say? You see, in limud haTorah we say, kachi darko shel Torah, pas b'melach toichal, umayim b'mesuro tishte, v'chaye tzar tichye, al oretz tishan. That means that Torah is absorbed, Torah is understood better. The more toil there's involved, even sometimes, if I can, it seems to me like I can do it without difficulty. But nevertheless, the more difficult it is, the more of a connection I make with Torah. Yogata umatzasa Tamin. It's talking about limud haTorah. There's no yogata umatzasa tamin in shaking the lulav. I mean, if somebody has a lulav easily, and he has no problem with shaking his hands, I mean, he's mekayim the mitzvah just like somebody that can barely move, right? It's the same mitzvah. Even though there's a ma'ila l'fum tzara agra, the Rambam actually says that l'fum tzara agra on the Mishnah is talking about limud haTorah. So the Rambam in the Rambam Milchus Talmud Torah also says v'haschar lefi hatzar. The Rambam says it in Hilchus Talmud Torah. Anyway, in Talmud Torah, there's a special value for amelus, which we don't have in mitzvahs. So that's something that's not mitzad the mitzvah of Talmud Torah as one of the 613 mitzvahs, but that's something that's a quality in Talmud Torah per se. And that's why we say that es mitzvosai tishmeru. Am I being clear? I just want to, and if not, they'll toil a bit. It'll only make it better. So the thing is, so that's why if it says es mitzvosai tishmeru, you know, I had a Rebbe, his name was Reb Shaul Bruce, and he was a Talmud of Reb Baruch Ber, and in Kamenetz, and he used to say, you think Reb Baruch Ber didn't know how to write? That's why the Birkas Shmuel is so hard to read. He Bedavka wrote it that way. He wanted that you should have to mush it That's what he said. I don't know if the Baruch Ber would agree, but this is what he said. He wanted to have the Moshe. Anyway, it's mitzvahs tishmeru. Is koil all the mitzvahs, and it includes the mitzvah of Talmud Torah also. But Bechukosai Telechu must then mean Shetiu Amelim B'Torah, because that goes beyond the calling of mitzvahs. That is something that's miyuchid, that's unique to Limud HaTorah, which is a great encouragement. Sometimes, it's rough. You think that the fact that it's rough is a problem, but it's actually a solution, because it's a solution to the problem of it being easy. Easy is not good. Easy is not good. Anyway, but if it's really so we know that Amelum, that Bechukosai Telechu means Amelum B'Torah, but still it's kind of strange that the Torah chose the term Telechu for Amelus, because walking, it's like it's just walk through it. It sounds like it's something easy, not something hard. Walking doesn't sound like something so difficult. So why would the Torah, when it's coming to talk about Amelus, use the term Telechu? So there's a Mishnah in the beginning of Masechtas Bava Basra. You'll stay here for a few years, you learn Bava Basra also. So the thing is, the Mishnah in the beginning of Bava Basra says, Hashutfin sherotzu lasois mechitze b'chotzer boinen es hakoisel be'emtza. Now sherotzu lasois mechitze, as the Gemara explains, means not they want to make a fence, but it means they want to make a division. They want to separate. The shutfin want to separate, they want to divide the chotzer. So boinen es hakoisel be'emtza. The Gemara says that we're talking over here about a chotzer that has no din chalukin. In other words, it's less than shmoina amos. If it's shmoina amos, if it's 8 amos, then I can force you to separate the shutzvus. However, if it's a chotzer she'ein boy din chalukin, then it's hashutfin sherotzu lasos mechitza. It's only if they both want to separate. And what's the halacha? Boinen es hakoisel be'emtza. That half the koisel is in my half and half the koisel is in your half. But the Gemara asks, the mayu kim til masnisen, v'shein bodin chaluke, rotzu mai havi lehedru bohu. So what if we agreed to break up the shutzvus and split the chotzer? Why can't we have charata? What kind of a halacha could there be that since we agreed to split up the chotzer, we have to? I have a tviyah on you that the koisel should be be'emtza. We have no tviyahs on you. We could just do whatever we want because the agreement can be undone. As I frag the Gemara lahedrubu. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan says, B'shekonu miyodon beruchos. They made a kinyan on the various parts, and therefore they can't reverse the agreement. Whereas Rav Ashi says, "Kigon sheholach zeh betoich sheloi vehechzik, v'holach zeh betoich sheloi vehechzik." That each one went in his half and he was machzik, and therefore it's irreversible. So Rashi says that what does it mean? Vehechzik, the rofak b'porta, that he dug into the ground, because one of the ways of making a chazakah is no'al, godar, uporatz. You do something in the karka, that is a chazakah. That is a chazakah. So Tosfos asks, I don't understand. If he made a real chazakah, so what is Rav Ashi saying different than what Rabbi Yochanan said? B'shekonu miyodon beruchos. If you made a regular chazakah, so it's a kinyan. So what's the difference between saying b'shekonu miyodon beruchos or saying holach zeh b'toich sheloi v'hechzik? Anyway, Tosfos has his pshat, but the Rambam actually says v'kiven shirotzu lachloik v'nisratze kol echad mishneihem beruach ploinis kigon shehichzik b'karkoi b'ragloi ein kol echad yochol achzer. So the Rambam says, no, we're not talking over here about Rofak Ba'Porta. He didn't dig into the ground. He really just walked. In other words, Holach Zeh B'Toich Shaloi V'Hechzik means he walked, and he was machzik with a walking. Walking. But walking is the Chnana Chazak. We have, we paskin like Rebbe Lezer on the Kuf Amid Aleph from Bava Basra, that Halicha is not a kid. But it's mavur from the Rambam that even though we say that walking is not a chazakah, that's only when you're trying to acquire something that's not yours. However, when you already own it, it's just that you're being mavarer, which chelik is going to be for you exclusively, and which chelik is going to be for him exclusively, for that halicha is enough. For that halicha is enough. And therefore, holach zeh b'toich shaloi v'hichzik means v'hichzik with the halicha. The halicha constitutes a hichzik for this level of kinyan that's needed to be mevarer your chelik in a shuftis. So the Rogatshov in his Tshuvas Sofas Paneach, he has a tshuva like this. in the middle of a tshuva, he writes, he named before b'teres kain and Parashat Bechukosai. Al kro in Bechukosai teilechu. Da Kodesh Baruch Hu roitze shiyu amelu b'tor. V'rotza loy ma'ikach. V'hine, before b'bava basher perek ches. V'hu b'Yerushalmi, halacha gimel. The kemoi, the Eretz Yisrael muchzekes. Just like we say about Eretz Yisrael that it's muchzekes, lo nu me'avo yiseinu. Hachenami Torah, Yerusha umuchzekes. That every Yid, Torah tziva lo nu Moshe, Moirosho. Kehillas Yaakov, every Yid is a Yerush. Rak mikol makom tzorech halicha. The mavur b'perish ha-mishnayis l'Rambam, reish perek alf the Bava Basra, dav the kaim alon commando amar Bava Basra daf kuf. The ein halicha koine, rak b'dav chodosh. That's when you have to acquire something that's not yours at all. Aval levarer eize chelik, l'zeh kone b'halicha. So kivin sha'Torah Yerusha rak tzorech levarer ha-chelik, tzorech amol v'yegia b'geder halicha. Ve'erachti b'chiburai chelik dalid, b'chiburai chelik dalid is trumas. Anyway, so the point is that the Torah is saying that there has to be amelus b'Torah. But don't be overwhelmed. It's not like you have to go as far as Rofak Ba'Porta in order to be machzik in the Torah, which is already a Yerusha, which you're really connected to. Yeah, you just have to find your place. You have to find the Chalkei B'Tzorah Sepa. So therefore, the level of Yegiah is really just on the level of Ha-Lichet. Therefore, the Torah puts it in these words, it uses the phrase Teilechu. It uses the phrase Teilechu. Now, you know, being that this week was Lag BaOmer, so this connects also with the idea of Lag BaOmer, because, you know, we say in the piyut of Amartim Koi L'Choi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So amongst the many things that we talk about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, it says, Gila Midrash HaNe'elam. He uncovered the hidden Midrash. Yochai Lifter Esoil. He can pater the world. This is based on a Gemara where Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, Yochai Ani Lifter Esoilam Kulei Midas Adin. That I have the ability to pater the entire world from Midas Adin. In Eruv in Daf Samachei, Rashi says, what does that mean? He litoin al kol Yisrael l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu davar sheyifteru kula medina lo sedlava. I could say to the Rebbeinu Shalom something that will pater all Jews from being punished. Loimar shehem shikorin the einam nitzvasim al daitam. I could say that they were intoxicated. They were shikorin. They are not responsible for their sins. It's a very strange. It sounds like an irresponsible statement to make, because even if he wants to privately tell the Rebbeinu Shalom this taina, but why would he make it public? I mean, that people should hear about it. I mean, it could have a very negative effect on the way people behave and conduct themselves. I mean, he's saying that I have a solution to everything. I mean, everybody's drunk. I mean, what is he trying to say? What is he trying to say? So, you know, that in Kama V'Chama Mekoymes B'Shas, we have a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, that Rabbi Yehuda is slay muktzeh, and Rabbi Shimon is less slay muktzeh. Rabbi Shimon doesn't hold of the Issa muktzeh. But if you are ma'ayin, you'll see that it's not that he doesn't hold of any muktzeh. The machlokes is about some very particular muktzahs. Actually, about 3 types of muktzah. In Perik Kira Masechta Shabbos, there's a machlokes about migoidis katzoi lebein hashmoshes is katzoi lekula yomer. Yehuda holds that if you had a burning candle bein hashmoshes, and therefore it was asur betiltul, you were not allowed to move it bein hashmoshes of Shabbos because of the chash kibui. So then it remains muktzah the entire Shabbos. It's asur betiltul because migoy is katzoi lebein hashmoshes is katzoi lekula yomer. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon, less lay muktzah. He holds that as soon as the fire is out, you could be metaltal deneh. Okay? Then at the end of the first period of Shabbos, we have a machlokes. You tell me if
I don't have the time, it's fine.
You don't have the time to tell me that I can stop? No, 1 second. So in the end of the first period in Masechta Shabbos, there's a machlokes about, let's say, Tamri de Iske. If dates were put away for doing business with them, for selling, and then I change my mind during Shabbos or during Yom Tov, and I wanna eat it. According to Yehuda, it's muktzah because it was muktzah midaitoi. It was removed from his mind. It loses its preparedness for eating. It's not mukhan fachil. Because I put it away for iske, for selling. Reb Shimon Leslie moves. And then there's a machlokes in the beginning of Masechtas Beitza about a Beitza shenol do b'Yom Tov. So it came into being on Yom Tov. According to Reb Yehuda, it's muktzah. According to Reb Shimon, Leslie muktzah. So what is it about? So it could be that this that Reb Yehuda holds that, let's say, Tamri de Iske or muktzah, is since they're designated for sale, so it's muktzah from all other tashmishim. In other words, Yehuda holds that what is prepared for officially, that's what defines what it is. Reb Shimon says that what it's prepared for here and now doesn't necessarily define it because there's a potential for change. And the potential for change is enough that it doesn't become totally defined by what it's designated for, because it might change. It might change. Now, the same thing is with migoides katzoi lebein hashmoshes, it's katzoi lekol yomer. Reb Yehuda judges it, defines it by what it's now, by what it's bein hashmoshes. Reb Shimon says, look at the potential. Yeah, the candle might not be burning forever, right? It'll change. Same thing is with Neulad. I mean, before it's Neulad, it's non-existent, but is it non-existent completely? I mean, there's a potential for life. It'll be Neulad. And therefore, Reb Shimon sees the potential as already a dimension in defining what this is. And you see that Reb Shimon holds in Bava Kama, Dover Hagorim Lamamin, Kimamin Dover. Same idea. Something that can bring Mammon, is considered like Mammon. Reb Shimon holds Kol Ha'omed Lizroi Kizorov Dami, Kol Ha'omed Livdois Kipodoi Dami, Kol Ha'omed Lizroi Kizorov Dami. Reb Shimon is always seeing beyond the here and now, beyond what's apparent. Reb Shimon is seeing the potential. And Memela, the thing is also, you see that Reb Yehuda holds that a davar she'eino miskaven is asur. Reb Shimon, who doesn't define things by the exterior, he says a davar she'eino miskaven is mutter, because the kavanah is really the deeper dimension of every ma'aser. Yeah, we find also in Shabbos Daf Lamed Gimel, Pasach Rabbi Yehuda v'Amar, Kama no'im ma'aseim shalom azu. Rabbi Yehuda says, how beautiful are the ma'asim of the Romans. Tiknu shvakim, tiknu yusharim. They made marketplaces, they made bridges, they made merchetzois. Rabbi Yossi Shosak. Nene Reb Shimon bar Yochai v'Amar, Kol ma shetiknu, lo tiknu ela l'tzorech atzmo. Don't be spoil. I mean, it looks all so beautiful on the outside, but think about it. What did they make it for? They made it for a good purpose. Tiknu shvakim lahoyshiv behem zoynois, mechetzois la'adin behem atzmom, gishorim little mehem meches. So you see that Rabbi Yehuda that holds that a davar she'eino miskaven is chayiv. He holds that a davar she'eino miskaven is also zoyche. I mean, listen, they don't have the right kavanas, but look, there's so much good comes out of it. But Reb Shimon says that no, it depends on where your heart is, right? And he says that that Mamela, don't be so impressed. Don't be so impressed. So Mamela, that's the thing. It could be that Reb Shimon is really saying. Reb Shimon is the Gilo Midrash Hane'elam. He uncovered the hidden Midrash, not just the uncovered Midrash. You know, we know that every Jew has a ois in the Sefer Torah. You know, it says, Yesh shishim ribi oisis l'Torah. Every Jew has a shorish in a ois in the Sefer Torah. Have you heard that before? You've heard that before. I say some Jews, their shorish is in the chukim. You can't understand it. Okay, but the thing is, every Jew has a shorish in the Sefer Torah. Memela, the thing is like this. Reb Shimon is Megala, the Midrash Hanelam in the Torah, but also the Midrash Hanelam in the Jews. Meaning, you know, he might be acting in a very negative way. But look deeper. Yeah, is it a davar miskaven or a davar she'eino miskaven? He says, really, they're all shikarim. I mean, they're all kind of exterior reasons that are making him be that way, but it's not the real him. And why is he saying this? He's not just going to say this to the Rebbeinu Shalom one day. But he wants every Jew to tap into his real, true identity. He says, you think, you identify with what you're doing. You think that that's who you are. I'm telling you that there's a deeper you that you're not in touch with. There's a real you that you're not in touch with. That's the Midrash Hane'elam. That's the hidden Midrash of every Jew. That he's really on a much higher level than he considers himself. And therefore, that's the idea of Yochel Lifter. That's why we say Gila Midrash Hane'elam, Yochel Lifter Es Ha'olam. Because it's really the same thing. The Gila Midrash Hane'elam in the Torah and the Yochel Lifter Es Ha'olam. It's like this. So the Bechukosai Telechu, on one hand, it's Yegiyah, it's Amelim B'Torah. Yeah, you have to work on it. It's not like you're in touch with that true self naturally. It takes effort. But at the same time, we're saying that the effort is not about acquiring a new persona. It's not about becoming something that you're not. It's not about becoming something else. It's about connecting with your real self. As we so often see, they even start learning Torah, and it excites them. It touches them in a. Just think about the fact that it's after thousands of years. I mean, we're still learning the Habayas, the Abaye v'Rava. I mean, honestly speaking, it's hard to imagine that Abaye v'Rava themselves would have imagined that 1,500 years later, people will still be, you know, saying, did he mean that? Did he mean that? Did he mean the opposite? I mean, it's really an amazing thing that Yidden still care about Torah. Still care about Torah. And the only way to explain it is Torah min hashamayim. And it's something in our DNA. It's something in our we're hardwired in a way that we connect with Torah. There's no other way to understand it. I say like this, you know, the fact that a Bachar today comes to a yeshiva is a raya that Torah min hashamayim. I have two rayas that Torah is min hashamayim. One is that Bacharim come to yeshiva. The second raya is that they come to yeshiva in the middle of the Seder, they chap shmuz. So the pshat is like this. Why? Because You already came to yeshiva, you want to learn. So how is it that you're sitting by the Gemara and you become distracted? Must be this Yetzer Hara. So it shows you another raya that says Mishamayim. I mean, if you'd be learning some Lemudei Chol, you wouldn't have that Yetzer Hara. But it comes to Torah, you have a Yetzer Hara. So these are two clear rayas that Torah is min hashamayim. One that you come to yeshiva, the other one that you come to yeshiva and you waste your time. So we're made with that we should utilize the opportunity of being in yeshiva for Shetiu Amelam B'Torah, and it should serve as a foundation. It should serve as a foundation for the entire life. Having said that, I wish you all a good evening.